Hi again, Gregg Bell of the News Tribune at CenturyLink Field after the Seahawks saved their season with an undeniably huge rally past the Green Bay Packers. What I'm going to remember from this game, I still can't believe Aaron Rodgers didn't make the 3rd and 2 throw on the outside out route. He threw the ball into the ground, one of the best quarterbacks of our era, maybe of ever. Looked like Tribune Boykin. He threw it right in the ground with the game on the line. It was inexplicable. Wide open receiver outside, no pressure. After the game, we asked the Seahawks about it, and the defensive players said, oh, it was all the pressure we put on him. And yes, they did get him 5 sacks, but on that particular play, 3rd and 2, 4 minutes left, he threw it, Rodgers threw it straight into the ground on an out route. It's inexplicable. Rodgers said after the game, the ball stuck in his hand. Just right there. And he will do it 100 more times and it'll never happen to him again. He said it was completely frustrating. Then the Packers decided to punt. 4th and 2, yes, you're in your own end, but they only had 1 timeout left. 1 first down was going to win the game for the Seahawks, and the way their offense is now built to run the ball, that's exactly what happened. The Seahawks took the field with a little over 4 minutes remaining, saying they knew, it was actually exactly 4 minutes remaining, and from the offensive lineman to Chris Carson to Mike Davis to Russell Wilson to Pete Carroll, they all said after the game they knew then, the way they are now built, that they had won the game. They knew they were going to run the ball, get first downs. Mike Davis was the closer tonight, 4 carries, 26 yards to end it. Chris Carson was the starter, came back, fumbled on the very first play of the game. You saw the beginning, how awful that was. The entire start for the Seahawks was putrid. Russell Wilson missing guys all over the lot. The opposite end zone, he missed Doug Baldwin, who was wide open for a touchdown. It would have answered the Packers' touchdown on the first drive. Throwing the ball into the stands. But if tonight didn't show you, it's probably time to quit the hating on Russell Wilson. I mean, I had people on Twitter saying it was Brett Hundley time. I know Twitter's not exactly the highest standard of intellect in our society, but no, it's not Brett Hundley time. Russell Wilson in the 4th quarter did what Russell Wilson has done for years and got this team to a Super Bowl and won one. All of you who hate on him quite a bit might want to remember that the only Super Bowl the Seahawks have ever won was won by a quarterback starting his 2nd Super Bowl in 3 seasons to begin his career. He showed up tonight when he absolutely had to. He made plays. He scrambled away from pressure. The 2 throws to Tyler Lockett. The second one, Lockett, I mean, he ran from this sideline to that sideline, actually from the right slot to that sideline, and made a diving catch that reminded me of a center fielder making a running, leaping, diving catch on a warning track. That's how far he ran to get that ball. Caught a 34-yard catch to the 16-yard line of the Packers. Then with 5:08 left, Seahawks line up in a look they'd been hoping to get from the Packers all night. They've been practicing against it all week. Blitz off the left edge, corner, safety and linebacker blitz off the left edge. Russell Wilson saw it. Ed Dixon was in slot left receiver. The tight end split out a little wider than normal, saw it. Some of the Packers dropped off on the blitz, but Wilson, I mean, he was clapping for the snap. He wanted it immediately because he wanted to get the ball off and into Dixon's hands as quickly as possible. He did. Dixon turned quickly because the ball was coming hot, and quickly he caught the pass and ran the rest of the way in for the 15-yard touchdown. 5:08 left, the go-ahead score. Dixon is so savvy, a veteran player. Those little nuanced things like that, unspoken. He knew the read. He looked at Wilson. Wilson looked at him, and they beat the blitz with a touchdown. And that rarely happens in the NFL. You practice the entire week for a particular look and get it exactly. You might get it in the 1st or 2nd quarter, but to get it with the game on the line, they finally got it. And Dwayne Brown told me it was one of the few times all night that the Packers blitzed, and a look that the Seahawks had practiced the entire week for ends up winning the game, because then, of course, as I said, Aaron Rodgers spikes the ball on the ground on 3rd and 2. The Packers punt, the Seahawks run out the clock. How big is this win? I mean, it's not yet Thanksgiving, I get it. But if the Seahawks lose this game, they're the Packers right now. They're 4 wins with 6 games remaining. And as we've talked about, 10 wins is the number you really need to assure yourself a viable chance at a playoff berth. Every year, 10 wins pretty much does it. 9, and you got into doing the tiebreakers and help. The Seahawks, of course, had 9 wins last year and missed the playoffs for the first time in 6 years. So now they're 5-5. They get 10 days off before they play at Carolina. The division-leading Panthers 6-3 at home in Carolina that weekend. But now their margin for error remains one loss. They can still afford one loss, which they need to keep in their back pocket because they still got to play the Chiefs here at home. They still play the Vikings. They go at the Panthers, as I mentioned. That's how big tonight's win was. Puts them back in to contention for that playoff spot. And they think they're built to make a run like 2015. They built the opposite way that 2015 team was. 2015 they were 4-5, won 5 straight games. Doug Baldwin and Russell Wilson talked after the game that they've been talking this week about that they won, of course, on a record passing run for that 5-game winning streak. That Seahawks team ended up clinching a playoff berth with 2 games still left in the season. This one, exactly the opposite. They will only win if they run and run effectively and run often. Carson came back from his fumble on the first play. The Seahawks gave him the ball. The very next play, I saw Nick Vannett tap him on the back in the huddle before that next play. And the very next play on the start the second drive, they gave it back to him. That got Carson right back into the game. That was a savvy coaching move by Carroll and Schottenheimer. 17 carries, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Doug Baldwin had his first touchdown of the season. We talked to him afterwards, and he said, finally, that he got that. We asked him if it pumped him up, and he said, nah, I'm a savage. Whether I score a touchdown or not, he also called Ed Dixon a savage, so I'm a savage, you're a savage, everyone's a savage tonight after that win. And Pete Carroll, after the press conference, I haven't seen him do this before, after his post-game press conference, he ran out of there clapping loudly as he exited. It was that kind of a night for the Seahawks after it started so poorly. This crowd was booing at the beginning of the first quarter when the Seahawks were down 14-3. They were rocking, and the press box was actually shaking on the Dixon touchdown in the fourth quarter. Season revived. You can read all about it at newstribune.com and on Twitter at GBellSeattle. Thanks for watching.